Hello to whoever may be listening. This is me. My name is Trinity Lynn Jackson. I'm a third-year BFA acting student at Penn State, but right now I'm across the pond studying acting in London. And this was me at the end of November before a night that would change my life forever and send me on a month-long journey of personal growth. If you were to ask this Trinity if she thought she'd be smiling and enjoying life in London, the answer would probably shock you. On the night of November 30th, I had a panic episode that felt like the cracked walls I had been trying to slap band-aids on for so long were caving in on top of me. It was the first time I'd felt that much panic and dread. It felt unbearable. The worst part is I couldn't figure out why it had happened, so it felt like it would never end. As I've been on my healing journey, I've decided I don't want to perpetuate shame around my panic. Rather than saying an anxiety or panic attack, I'm going to call them episodes. For me, it is not an attack. It's a period of time lasting anywhere from minutes of severe anxiety to weeks of derealization and other anxiety symptoms. The episodes would begin with my body entering fight or flight mode, a neurological response meant to protect me. What from? Well, that's the million-dollar question. There are 12 stages of burnout. I would say for most of my life, I've been operating at a high and consistent level of the first 3 stages: excessive ambition, working harder, and neglecting own's needs. I'd gotten so used to putting my needs on the back burner, I wasn't eating properly, getting enough sleep, or indulging my hobbies. I was neglecting to treat my body physically and mentally well. I knew what I was doing was not good for me, but I wasn't taking any steps to mitigate the issues because I had been doing them since middle school. I'd gotten so used to being under critical levels of stress that I was convinced that's how I did my best work. And for a lot of years, that was true. I was taking on too much. Not only work for jobs, clubs, classes, or performances, I was now adopting anxieties I had about the current state of our world. Climate change, prolonged conflicts, genocide, gun regulation, abortion laws, police brutality, old white men consistently being elected to positions for hundreds of people they do not care to serve. I felt responsible. And not like it was my fault. I understand these issues stand as they do because of years of systemic buildup. I felt responsible for having to fix them. I often thought about changing my major from the thing I'm so passionate about so that I may be a better service to my world. Why? Why was I willing to give up the one thing I've loved since I was so young to fix a world that I didn't break? While I was dealing with that internal battle, I was unknowingly making my way through the stages 4 through 8. Displacement of conflicts and needs, no longer any time for non-work-related needs, increasing denial of the problem, decreasing flexibility of thought and behavior, withdrawal, lack of direction, cynicism, behavioral changes, and psychological reactions. I was in a constant go mindset. I had hobbies I hadn't picked up in weeks, was pulling crazy numbers of screen time and doom scrolling. At the time, I was president of 2 organizations and on the administration board for another, working to raise money for students to study abroad, and completing a very stressful run of a school theater production. I was trying to catch up to a ball that was always 10 feet ahead of me. Then I hit stage 9, or rather, stage 9 hit me. Depersonalization, loss of contact with self and own needs. A state of mind in which the self appears unreal. Individuals feel estranged from themselves and usually from the external world, and thoughts and experiences have a distant, dreamlike character from the American Psychology Association. Sounds crazy, right? I felt very much like I was going crazy. But depersonalization and derealization are very common symptoms of anxiety, which I experienced every day in December for a big portion of January. My anxiety stemmed from a lack of control over the unknown and situations out of reach. As you can see, I'm clearly not in State College, Pennsylvania. I'm studying abroad in London this semester. And though it is beyond my wildest hopes, I never could have imagined being here. I didn't know what it would be like for months. I was so scared of not having control over this one thing that it was easy for me to believe it would never happen. And that was the narrative that drove my anxiety and controlled my thoughts. For the past 2 months until I took the big girl step of going to the doctor, I fluctuated between severe levels of stage 9 to 12. Inner emptiness, anxiety, addictive behavior, increasing feelings of meaningless and lack of interest, physical exhaustion that can be life-threatening. For an entire month, I let my anxiety dictate my every move. To give you a better idea of who I am very much a nurturer in my friendships. I love taking care of people and resent being taken care of. I believed and acted for so long as if I was the only person who could and should take care of myself, that I know what's best for myself, even though when I knew what I was doing was directly contradicting my best interest. I'd been running and running, trying to reassure myself and others that I had it all under control, that I could be the superhero, that I could do it all. Then I hit rock bottom, my first panic episode. It left me questioning everything I knew. At the time, I was living by myself, and those questions cycled through my mind every second of the day. I needed to reach out. I was past the point of no return, and I needed to trust someone other than myself. A big reason I didn't ask for help until I was past the point of needing it was because of the shame that I had. I thought I had to be the girl who kept it all together, the girl who could save the world and didn't need to take care of herself first. I was lucky enough to have a support system who all experienced things I did and who I could talk to about my struggles. I was not the first person to experience panic. I was not the first person to experience depersonalization. I was not the first person to need help. And I was not the first person to burn out. Women are more prone to experience burnout than men, with a 46% to 37% ratio, which is not surprising when you think about the societal pressures being put on women in addition to their work life. But where does this come from, and how does it relate to leadership at University Park? Some point to our high levels of burnout, specifically in Gen Z, to the human giver syndrome. Human giver syndrome is this theory that women often experience fatigue and burnout because we relentlessly set aside our needs, desires, and feelings in service and support of others. We emotionally hold space for others at the expense of our own mental and emotional well-being. For me, as a Black woman in leadership, I empathize with how much my colleagues from all different backgrounds are holding so much room in their heart space for others that there is none left for them. I see it in leadership all the time, especially in marginalized communities. We're fighting 12 different battles, none of which we started, against our identities, the things we cannot change. Gen Z, which I like to call the Traumatized Justice League, has been expected increasingly over the past few years to solve and clean up the gunky residue of older generations. I must have had so many older community members I look up to who tell me, we must be the change. We have to save the world. How did we get to this point? Post-COVID, I have seen students younger and younger tackling issues from local communities to the whole globe. Even younger students here at University Park are getting involved with student government and advocacy within their first few months. Even I joined UPUA within the first 4 weeks of college. But what really interests me is when did this idea of taking action in our generation's future turn into a shift that our generation is clocked into but is yet to clock out? Social media helped for a bit, with everyone being able to band together and conversate on similar issues or debate and learn something from your fellow human. But now we are being encouraged to self-advocate with the tool of social media without much physical change coming from it. Take Black Lives Matter, for example. We're told today that our voices and stories matter. So we share. We share the darkest hours of our lives time and time again, hoping that someone will take notice. But the change that we need, the revolutionary change, has yet to come. So restarts the vicious cycle of trauma as a teacher. Marginalized voices are often the ones advocating not only for themselves, but for others as well, constantly being ignored. If your efforts are constantly being dismissed, how do you find the motivation to keep going, especially through social justice burnout? And this isn't just on the global scale. We've seen it here at University Park. Collegiate communities perpetuate this negative cycle. How? By encouraging students to juggle multiple balls. Excel in class, be involved, support sports, have jobs, and have social lives. And then to put the weight of our world on the students' shoulders is unbelievable. I've often wondered how this weight translates into students adopting a fixer role and investing so much time into leadership that all their other responsibilities take the back seat. I've seen student leaders run themselves up the wall to the point of misery trying to make just our community of 40K a better place. This is a mere 4 years of our lives. Then we graduate, we're so used to repeating the stages of burnout, but we can't safely advocate and participate in things we're passionate about. I've seen that at every level of university. There are steps individuals can take, but the system could set people up for success from day one. This isn't a coincidence, this is a pattern that doesn't have to continue. One can take steps to prevent burnout, but there's only so much they can do, and their environment is not a healthy place to thrive. How do we encourage people to reach out for help or guidance before they're too deep in their struggles or don't even know they're struggling to begin with? We make it known just how many resources are available to them. I know for me, I struggled for so long because I thought there were adequate enough help for me. I was better off facing my feelings alone. But you're never alone. Colleges are a great place for students to practice these skills and coping strategies in a safe space so they can proactively enter the world post-graduation. So rather than learning from repeated bad experiences and spending time post-graduation healing from burnout, they're prepared from the very first day as a Penn State student. New student orientation is a great space and program to set students on a sustainable route even before the first day of class. The great thing about NSO being the play space for my call to action is it's mandatory. So, students are given the tools before they think they need them. I proposed a new subsection of NSO or an online course like the Drug and Alcohol Awareness course taken during the first year orientation. A course ran by a member of CAP's staff and a soon-to-be graduating student discussing mental and emotional sustainability in college. How to balance work, life, and school in an ever-changing world going through a challenging period. Though balance is not a finish line but an ever-moving goalpost, we can teach students different skills to prevent burnout and promote mental wellness. I think having a student and staff member to co-run this course takes away any connotation that learning skills to benefit the long-running health of your brain is work or just another task to complete. Soon-to-be graduating students have had at least 2 years of built-up experience they can share with incoming first years. For these mentor students, the key aspect is honesty and transparency. It's important to be self-reflective. Things still might be difficult and life may have gotten harder, and if they are, we need to create a dialogue to make it clear that there is no shame around that. They need to know they have a safe space to prevent their own burnout and take a break. The best format for this course, if it were to be in person, is to frame it as a conversation, with information and resources being shared, but also leaving the door open to any specific questions or avenues the students may go. Let's take an average NSO session of 200 students. If we were to host 10 sessions of 20 students, just having a discussion, I think the adjustment would improve the quality of so many students' lives. I think implementing check-ins over the course of education, whether through an advisor or self-led assessment, would also be a bonus. Or investigating what keeps students from asking for help versus welcoming it with open arms. In these sessions, we discuss what it's like to be a student at University Park. There's so many exciting opportunities one wants to be a part of. These sessions give students tips if they want to engage in those opportunities or how to juggle everything on the horizon. Where, how, and who to reach out to when you need help, even before you think you need it. Educating students on the stages of burnout and their signs. The importance of saying no, navigating the first 2 stages of burnout. Troubleshooting what students' needs are today, because they change from class to class and from person to person. Turn off your phone, listen to Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. There are physical steps that can be taken to improve your mental well-being. And taking trauma as a teacher out of subconscious vocabulary. We have a chance to create a safe environment for change and development as human beings and leaders at our campus, starting from day one. Students don't have to experience burnout or the repeating cycles of it. We can pave a new road. Sometimes it's okay not to be a superhero. Suffering in silence is never the answer. Thank you.